Golfers, not many people know what I'm about to tell you, so let's call this a trade secret. We're going to talk about how we can get this club face square and do it the correct way, the scientific way, to make you hit straighter shots. So most golfers believe when you return the club to the ball, it should be square or at right angles to where we want to go. This is not true. If we return the club at right angles to where we want to go, at the point of collision, it means at the point of where the ball separates, that club face will no longer be square unless that club face doesn't rotate at all in 0.003 of a second. So roughly the time between collision and separation is 0.003 of a second. Not to get too techie with you. If you are a guy that is releasing the club in a closing fashion, obviously when we release that club, if we make contact with the square face, that face will be closed and the ball will go left. If that face is opening, it's going to be further open. So what we want to really work on is making sure we can get this golf club to contact the ball in the right spot at the right angle and allow it then to continue to rotate through that separation, that impact interval, to make sure you control the ball in its flight. So quite simply, I've got a bit of a visual down here initially. I've got 3 T-pegs, obviously to represent a straight line. And I've also got some athlete spray, foot spray powder to show 2 lines as well. One is at 90 degrees to the target, and one is set off at an angle. Now, ideally, what we want is the club face to be open at the point of contact and closing. So if I set up to these tees and return that club, so I hit this first tee with the club face open at a similar angle to my second white line, that's pretty much what I'm looking for. Then through that hitting zone, that impact interval, I'm looking for this club face then to rotate. And I like players to feel the rotation is more left arm than I do right arm. Purely because if the right arm gets involved, it quite often gets on top, and the path tends to want to come across the golf ball. So I definitely want you to feel that your club is contacting with the face open and you're hitting the inside back quarter of the ball. So what we want is the club face to continue to rotate through the golf ball. You'll see here how my arm supinates, my thumb rotates, and that's increasing that rate of closure, but the right way. What we want, if you imagine the club to release and it'll start to extend, but it wants to be in a fairly straight line condition, pointing at somewhere like 4 or 5 o'clock here. This being 6 o'clock, this being 4 or 5 o'clock here. After it gets to that 4 or 5 o'clock position, and the club wants to be here pointing roughly at your belly button, the wrist then will cup or extend and work more upwards as it travels inwards. So it's continually working upwards, but it's going to be going at a steeper trajectory here than it will be at this phase there. So that's what we're looking to do. So the guys that come over the top, you're going to have to probably work on the path as well as the club face rotation. But for the other guys, we really want to make sure that we are understanding that the face needs to be open at the point of contact and continuing to rotate through that impact interval to hit straight shots. So we want to be hitting the golf ball, and if we look at the logo here, at this back inside quarter with the club face open and then rotating and then go in a straight line. As I said, it's about 0.003 of a second with an iron shot. So that's roughly where you'd want to be. And this goes through the bag with the driver as well. The driver, the collision time is fractionally longer. And with a putter, for example, it's fractionally less. So what I'd want to do then, in order to train that, we'll use these T-pegs for a few practice swings. We want that club, as I said, to be delivering like so. Then pick the club up on top of the tee and continue to let it rotate and set up like this. And we want everything to rotate. The body, the arms, the forearms, the wrists, the thumbs, the shaft, the club head. But we want to get the feeling of always contacting in that said place. Now, when we go and hit the golf ball, set the logo of the ball up to be in the back inside quarter, and we're going to try and feel we do that same kind of contact open, release the club through the ball. I would advise you probably do that with small swings and build up. So let's just do that very thing. That one had a tiny bit of dropping left draw. Pretty happy with the strike and everything. You could probably say the face was fractionally too close to contact. This is why it drew if I was looking for a perfectly straight shot. Trust me, if that was my ball flight, I'd take that all day long. And then what we would do is build that up into maybe a 3/4 into a full swing. So there you have it, the secret, the magic to get that club face square through that impact interval to give you consistent shots.